Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following content is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. What you're about to hear is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony from the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. I'd rather be right in hell than silent in heaven. Yeah, she said that, in court, to Diddy's face. With Oprah's name still hanging in the air like a bad perfume, bestie, Wendy Williams, snapped, and the courtroom shook, silent, sizzling, in a jaw-dropping, no-holds-barred testimony that felt like a crossover episode between Law & Order, Celebrity Crimes, and the Wendy Williams Experience. The queen of hot topics just turned the heat all the way up and torched the names of Diddy, Jay-Z, Tyler Perry, and yes, even Oprah. NDAs exposed. Ritual parties unmasked. Hollywood's unspoken blacklist suddenly very, very spoken. So grab your popcorn, your publicist, and your panic button, because this isn't just a scandal. It's the trial that's burning down the entire entertainment empire. Before she was body-slamming Hollywood elites in a courtroom, Wendy Williams was the unapologetic queen of daytime gossip. We're talking how you doing, wig-snatching, shade-throwing, rumor-confirming royalty, all from a purple chair and a mic that did not come to play. She built her empire off being loud, bold, and brutally unfiltered. But here's the thing, when you air dirty celebrity laundry for a living, you either become a pop culture legend or you end up on a list. Spoiler, Wendy was on the list. Now rewind to the early 2000s. While everyone else was worshipping the glitzy rise of moguls like Diddy, Jay-Z, and Oprah, Wendy was out here whispering, "Oh, y'all sure about these folks?" She talked about Diddy's parties when they were still industry rumors. She mentioned underage grooming in hip-hop years before anyone dared say it out loud. She called out Oprah's calculated power plays and dragged Tyler Perry's hypocrisy long before Twitter discovered it had claws. She was doing it alone, and they made her pay. Let's talk about that infamous 2004 book, The Wendy Williams Experience. It had more veiled references than a Beyoncé album. Shady moguls with ritual-like parties. Powerful women who use sisterhood as PR armor artists being blackballed for breaking the silence at the time. People laughed, called her messy, paranoid, toxic. But now, those same chapters are being referenced in court documents. Wendy wasn't starting drama, she was archiving truth. Then came the fallout. Her interview with former bad boy artist Mark Curry mysteriously vanished from radio station archives after he called Diddy the shadow that ruins people. Executives warned her to tone it down. Segments got flagged, sponsors pulled out, and FCC complaints magically popped up anytime she touched certain names. Let's not forget when she tried to bring on Superhead, Jaguar Wright, and other industry whistleblowers. Every time, pushback, threats, static. And when she didn't play nice, they labeled her unstable, problematic, too risky. Translation, she was telling the truth too early. After her very public fallout with the team behind Precious, yes, the one produced by Oprah and Tyler Perry, the blacklist came hard and fast. No more invites, no more red carpets. One exec even told her flat out, "Oprah's people don't want you near her anymore." Then, just to pour salt in the wound, Oprah, who Wendy once confided in about her own history of abuse, turned around and featured Wendy's actual abuser on her show. And not as an expose, as a guest. Imagine that betrayal. You finally trust someone with your trauma, and they put it on TV without you while you're being iced out of the industry you helped build. That's not drama, that's war. So when Wendy walked into that courtroom with files, emails, and NDAs, it wasn't a comeback. It was the climax of a 20-year battle against a machine built to shut her up. She wasn't just angry, she was armed. She wasn't just messy, she was right. And now the world, the same one that called her crazy, is finally listening. And baby, they're scared. So the court calls her to the stand, expecting maybe some media flair, a little drama, a little sass, maybe a wig adjustment. Instead, Wendy walks in with the calm of a woman who's been ignored for decades and is finally about to be heard. She's not crying, she's not shaking. She's got a stack of files, an arched brow, and the demeanor of someone who has been waiting for this moment like it's the Met Gala of revenge. And the first words out of her mouth? "I was never messy. I was early." Iconic. Already better than half the closing statements we've seen in real trials. But baby, it didn't stop there. Oh no. This wasn't a hot topic. This was scorched earth. Wendy starts with Diddy, because of course she does. She's been calling out his antics since cassette tapes were still a thing. And now, she finally has the floor. She paints a picture of ritual-like parties hidden behind the mask of industry events. Think candlelight setups, NDAs at the door, cameras in every room, guests with 0 last names, and discretion measures baked into hotel contracts. She reads from a 2015 email sent by a luxury hotel chain. We have prepared the presidential suite with all requested amenities, including extra linens, candlelight lighting, and discretion measures. Mr. Combs' assistant will arrive for setup prior to guest entry. The room goes still. No one's breathing. People are side-eyeing each other like, is she actually doing this right now? Yes, she is. And then comes the punch. You think this was just celebrity partying? This was a system. Planned, funded, scheduled, and cleaned up. Not a vibe, a blueprint. She says she personally witnessed young women escorted out at sunrise, often looking disoriented, shoeless, and silent. And she claims some were offered hush money right in the elevator. Then she holds up a copy of her own NDA, an offer made directly to her. They said I could have a syndicated deal if I just let it go. And in true Wendy fashion, I said no, and I paid the price. Now this is where it gets even darker. Wendy talks about the years she tried to raise red flags about Cassie Ventura, Diddy's longtime girlfriend who, according to Wendy, was being controlled, watched, and erased in real time. She recalls an interview where Cassie visibly flinched when Diddy raised his voice. That wasn't nerves, that was trauma. You know it when you see it. She also references a canceled live performance, where Cassie was mysteriously pulled off the lineup hours before she was scheduled to perform. And why? Because she didn't text him back fast enough. Wendy says that's not relationship drama. That's captivity with a glam team. And the court, silent. Then, Wendy drops a photo that takes the case from explosive to nuclear. It's Diddy, Tyler Perry, and a well-known media crisis consultant, all smiling at a 2019 gala. Why does this matter? Because the woman in the photo, the consultant, is known for her ability to sweep stories off the internet. And the event was held 2 days after a major abuse accusation against a bad boy artist was trending on Twitter, only to vanish mysteriously within 48 hours. Coincidence? Wendy doesn't think so, and neither does the jury. And now comes the part that had even the defense squirming. Oprah, Winfrey, Tyler, Perry. Wendy testifies that Oprah invited her actual abuser on her show, after Wendy specifically asked her not to. Why? Because I was being punished. She says she was told Oprah's team had concerns about Wendy's influence and were actively campaigning to keep her off major networks. Tyler, according to Wendy, he donated $1 million to a certain church in exchange for positive press amidst Diddy drama. An email from his publicist, read aloud in court, said, "Manage optics, Wendy, Puff, Tyler." The room gasped. Wendy pauses, scans the courtroom, and drops one of the most savage lines of her testimony. They smiled while women were getting paid to shut up, and others were getting destroyed for speaking out. Wendy Williams dropped names in court like they were hot potatoes. And baby, the internet turned into a crime scene. No one was ready for it. Not Diddy, not Oprah, not Twitter, not even the judge who, by the way, looked like he had just binge-watched Surviving Bad Boy on Netflix. And the moment she walked out of that courtroom, the internet detonated. Within 15 minutes of her testimony hitting the blogs, hashtags were trending faster than you could say, "How you doing?" Wendy was right, Nub Diddy trial, blacklist exposed, flavor camp, is real, yikes, Jay-Z grooming allegations. We'll get to that. And people weren't just retweeting. They were analyzing every old Wendy clip like it was sacred text. Suddenly, her problematic rants were looking more like warning signs. She tried to tell us. This woman was gaslighted by an entire industry. So we all owe Wendy Williams an apology, huh? Yes, we do. TikTok detectives went full CSI. One clip from 2006 resurfaced where Wendy mentions parties where people lose their morals and their memory. Another clip, Wendy on her radio show saying, "If I go missing, check Diddy's basement." It was a joke, until it wasn't. TikTok edits were dropping left and right. Old clips of Cassie looking dead behind the eyes during interviews, Diddy interviews where he stammers when asked about industry parties, Tyler Perry praising Oprah while optics management emails flash on screen. The most viral TikTok got over 12.4 million views in 24 hours and ended with the text, "They called her crazy. Turns out she was the only one sane." Ouch. Let's talk about the most suspicious trend post-testimony. Silence. Deafening silence. The very celebs who used to post selfies with Wendy, invite her to events, or casually drop love and light under her photos. Gone. Ghosted. Diddy turned off Instagram comments, unfollowed Cassie, deleted 3 years worth of party photos, PR statement, a vague, "We will address false accusations in court," which said a whole lot of nothing. Oprah, radio silent. Her own staff posted for her about wellness and gratitude. Removed 3 interviews from OWN's YouTube within 48 hours, all featuring guests who had previously defended Diddy. Tyler Perry posted a quote from Psalms and dipped. No comments allowed, no press appearances. Rumors say his legal team immediately scheduled a reputation risk audit the morning after Wendy's testimony. Jay-Z. Well, let's just say the Bayhive was stressed. No direct comment, of course, but a scheduled Rock Nation brunch for industry healing was quietly canceled. Chile. Here's what's scary. Not just who spoke, but who didn't. No statements from record labels, no clarifying tweets from powerful execs, no denial from former party regulars, no challenges to the emails. Wendy read aloud in court. Why? Because when someone has the receipts, you don't fight back with drama. You go full damage control and PR ghost mode. They weren't quiet because it was false. They were quiet because it was true enough to terrify them. You know what was trending right next to Diddy's name? Wendy Williams deserves an Emmy. Yup, the woman they said was unhinged, the one who passed out on live TV and got memed to death, the one people called a messy train wreck. She's now being praised as the only one who ever told the truth. People finally realized that she wasn't a villain. She was a survivor with a mic. They said she was unstable. Turns out she was just exhausted from being right for 20 years straight. And let's not forget the Wendy classic that started circulating again. You'll all gag when the truth comes out. She said it in 2009. The gagging, happening in 2025. This isn't just a wave of, "Oh no, not him too." This was a reckoning. People are realizing how many Black women got cast aside, mocked, or erased for telling inconvenient truths. Wendy, Jaguar Wright, Kareen Steffens, they were dragged through the mud for saying exactly what's now being verified in court. Fans are calling it the Great Unsilencing, and some even coined a new movement, Number Believe Black Women, with Wendy as the face of it. Here are the most viral soundbites from Wendy's testimony that broke social feeds into pieces. "I was never messy. I was early. This wasn't a party, it was a ritual. You don't get to talk about men like Diddy and walk away clean. They blackballed me for being right too soon. I'd rather be right in hell than silent in heaven." Each one is a quote, a clapback, and a cultural reset all in one. Reddit exploded with deep dives. A thread titled, "Wendy Williams was the Cassandra of hip-hop," got 30,000 upvotes overnight. People are mapping out timelines, connections, cover-ups, pulling up old court documents matching leaked contracts and linking every canceled artist, deleted interview, and public meltdown back to the same circle of names. Let's just say, Flavor Camp has gone from joke to a full-blown theory with timestamps, receipts, and red string on corkboards. Let's be real. Just a few years ago, people were treating Wendy like a cautionary tale. Tabloids labeled her unwell. Fans reposted the Statue of Liberty fainting clip like it was her legacy. Celebs took thinly veiled jabs in interviews like, "I'm not one of those people who gossips for a living, but look who's laughing now," and reading federal court transcripts like bedtime stories. Wendy's not just getting her flowers, she's getting her whole damn botanical garden. Her old episodes are being re-uploaded like historical archives. Journalists are calling her a misunderstood truth teller. People are literally editing her into the Last Supper meme with other whistleblowers. We're witnessing a full-blown vindication arc, and it's honestly overdue. Because Wendy didn't just predict the fall of Diddy, she warned us about power structures built on PR, fear, and hush money. And now, Wendy Williams. The movie might need a part 2. Meanwhile, Diddy's kingdom is falling faster than a SoundCloud rapper's career. Let's tally the damage. Brand deals, quietly disappearing. One of his liquor partners dropped him the day after Wendy's testimony. Real estate, his Miami mansion is now under asset review. Translation, the feds are circling. Business partners? Jumping ship like it's the Titanic. And that vault of secrets Wendy cracked open? It's got people looking sideways at everything he built. The mentorship model. The bad boy contracts, the so-called family dinners with NDAs, the artists who mysteriously fell off after one album, the whispers are now headlines, and the loyalty is turning into subpoenas. Because once Wendy pulled the curtain back, people started realizing, wait, is this just Diddy, or is this how the whole system works? And that is the scariest part for the people still cashing those guilt-soaked royalty checks. Wendy didn't just go for the king, she swung at the entire royal court, and she hit hard. Oprah. Once seen as uncancelable, the spiritual billionaire auntie of America. Now, under the spotlight for allegedly blacklisting Wendy, betraying her trust, and allowing Wendy's own abuser to appear on her show for ratings. Not a good look, especially in an era where believe women means believe all women, not just the convenient ones. Tyler Perry. He's out here writing morality plays while allegedly funneling hush cash to churches and ducking PR scandals like Neo in The Matrix. That managing optics email Wendy read in court, it may be the most damaging 2 words of his career. It says, in plain English, we don't care if it's true. We just care how it looks. Yikes. Jay-Z. And then there's Mr. Blueprint himself. Wendy's allegations about grooming Foxy Brown. Fans are now digging up lyrics, tour footage, and old interviews with a new set of eyes. And the timeline is not looking cute. The biggest artists in the world now have a choice: speak up and risk fallout, or stay silent and hope the storm misses them. So far, most are choosing the latter, but the audience is watching. And silence in 2025 is not neutrality, it's guilt in designer sunglasses. Wendy didn't just out Diddy and his A-list co-conspirators, she exposed the blueprint for how powerful people stay powerful and how truth gets buried under a pile of press releases. This case is about control, reputation laundering, friendly media buying silence, and a celebrity ecosystem built on who's allowed to speak and who gets erased when they do. She made people look at the industry and ask, how many other stars have been silenced? How many careers were killed before they even began? What's the real cost of fame? Because if Wendy's story is true, and all signs say it is, then the game isn't just rigged, it's been weaponized. And for every Cassie, Jaguar Wright, or Superhead who got labeled crazy, the court is finally giving them a mic. Let's be honest, someone's PR team is already writing the apology tour scripts. Prediction: a Notes app apology. A tearful interview with a neutral host, Gayle King probably, a rehab stint, a healing journey podcast with soft jazz in the background. But here's the tea: that playbook is tired. People aren't falling for it anymore. You can't cleanse decades of silence with one fake cry and a beach photo shoot. And you definitely can't rehab your image while your old NDAs are being entered into evidence. This scandal doesn't just end with court transcripts, it's redefining what a legacy looks like in the age of accountability. Wendy was the loud one, the messy one, the clown, the drama. But now, she's the blueprint for surviving an industry that eats truth-tellers alive. She didn't just call out the powerful, she outlived them. And now, their silence is her loudest vindication. So let's sum it up. Wendy Williams didn't just pull up receipts, she pulled up decades of dirt, peeled back the industry's polished facade, and exposed the rot underneath. They told us she was unstable. They told us she was messy. They told us she was wrong. And yet, here we are, reading her old headlines like court transcripts and finally realizing Wendy was right. She warned us about Diddy. She warned us about Hollywood's inner circle. She warned us about those smiling faces managing optics while erasing truth-tellers one career at a time. And now, that purple chair might be empty, but her voice is louder than ever. Meanwhile, Diddy's empire is crumbling, Oprah's silence is screaming, and Tyler Perry's next Madea movie might need to be called Madea Goes to Court. The industry is shaking, the fans are waking up, and Wendy, she just upgraded from hot topics to hot justice. Let's be real, she didn't just survive, she rewrote the game. Because in a world full of NDAs, PR spin, and exclusive access, she reminded us of one cold, undeniable truth. You can blacklist a person, but you can't blacklist the truth. So if you screamed, gasped, or whispered, "Oh, hell no," at least twice during this video, like it. Comment with your favorite Savage Wendy quote. And subscribe if you believe it's finally time to listen to the loud ones. Because the tea's hot, the masks are slipping, and this story ain't over yet.